Clint Eastwood, a legendary actor and director, has spent decades entertaining millions of people. Known for playing tough, no-nonsense characters, Eastwood's career has been filled with many great moments. But behind his calm and cool exterior, there were people who he did not get along with. One person, in particular, managed to make Eastwood so angry that he admitted he hated him more than anyone. This might come as a surprise because Clint Eastwood is usually seen as composed, but there's always more to a person than meets the eye. In this story, we'll explore Clint Eastwood's incredible career and the people he worked with, some whom he got along with, and some whom he didn't. We will dive into the conflicts that shaped him and the emotional journey behind his relationships. The early years, a tough start for Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was born on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, California. He was a big baby, weighing over 11 pounds, and his parents called him Samson because of his strength. Growing up, Eastwood's family moved a lot because of his father's job, which made it difficult for young Clint to settle into one school or community. Although his family lived comfortably, Clint didn't have an easy time in school. He struggled with his grades and even got into trouble, which led to him being kicked out of one school for bad behavior. Eventually, he attended Oakland Technical High School, but never fully focused on his studies. Instead, Clint took on different jobs like being a lifeguard and a grocery clerk, starting his acting career. From small roles to rawhide. After serving in the military during the Korean War, Clint found his way into Hollywood. It wasn't easy. At first, many directors criticized his acting. One director even said Clint delivered his lines with his teeth clenched, which became a part of his acting style later on. Clint didn't give up though. He worked hard, and after many small roles, got his first major part in the television series Rawhide. It was during Rawhide that Clint Eastwood began to shape his acting style. However, this role also became a challenge. Clint found the character he played too young and awkward for his liking. Despite his discomfort, Clint's work on the show eventually opened doors to even bigger opportunities. Rising to fame, The Man with No Name. Clint's big break came when he was cast in A Fistful of Dollars, an Italian Western directed by Sergio Leone. This role changed everything for him. The character known as The Man with No Name was different from traditional Western heroes. Instead of being a clean-cut, good guy, Clint's character was rough around the edges, someone who didn't follow all the rules. The movie was a huge success, and Clint quickly became a star. This was the beginning of what would be called the Dollars Trilogy, including For a Few Dollars More and The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly. These films turned Clint into an international superstar and showed the world a new kind of Western movie. But as Clint's career grew, so did the tensions with some of the people he worked with. The clash with Romain Gary, personal and professional battles. One of the biggest conflicts in Clint's career happened while filming a movie called Birds in Peru in 1968. The tension began between Clint and Romain Gary, a famous writer and director who was married to Clint's co-star, Jen Seberg. From the start, the two men didn't get along. Clint liked to be calm and go with the flow, while Romain was very controlling and wanted everything to be perfect. Things only got worse when Clint and Jen Seberg developed a romantic relationship off-screen. This infuriated Romain, who felt betrayed both personally and professionally. The set became a battlefield, with emotions running high. Romain even challenged Clint to a duel. Clint refused because he didn't want to delay the movie. But the damage had already been done. Romain and Jean divorced, but Clint didn't leave his marriage for Jean, which made things even more complicated. Working with Sergio Leone, a successful but tense partnership. Another significant relationship in Clint's career was with director Sergio Leone, who helped launch Clint into stardom with the Dollars Trilogy. Sergio was known for his unique style of directing, which included long, drawn-out standoffs and close-up shots that built tension. Together, Sergio and Clint created some of the most famous Western movies of all time. Their partnership was successful, but it was not without its difficulties. Sergio was a perfectionist, and this often meant long, tiring days on set. Clint, who preferred a simpler, more efficient approach, started to get frustrated with the constant retakes and Sergio's attention to detail. The tension between the two men reached its peak after the success of The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly. Sergio offered Clint a role in his next big project, Once Upon a Time in the West. But Clint, feeling that he had done enough westerns, turned down the offer. Sergio felt betrayed by Clint's decision, and their relationship began to fall apart. Sergio moved on without Clint, casting Charles Bronson in the lead role instead. While the film was successful, the friendship between Clint and Sergio never recovered. Years later, Clint reflected on his time working with Sergio, calling him a genius but acknowledging that their working styles were just too different to continue collaborating. A Feud with John Wayne, a battle of generations. One of the most famous rivalries in Clint Eastwood's career was with another legendary actor, John Wayne. Both men were known for their roles in Western movies, but they represented very different styles. John Wayne, who had been a Hollywood star since the 1930s, played the classic cowboy hero, strong, noble, and always fighting for justice. Clint's characters, on the other hand, were more complicated. His roles often involved anti-heroes, characters who didn't always do the right thing but were still captivating to watch. Their feud became public when John Wayne criticized Clint's movie High Plains Drifter. Wayne, who believed in traditional Western values, was shocked by the dark, violent tone of Clint's film. He felt that Clint was ruining the Western genre by making it too gritty and realistic. Clint, however, dismissed Wayne's criticism, saying that Wayne was part of an older generation that didn't understand how Westerns were evolving. Despite their differences, Clint respected Wayne's work, but the tension between them showed the generational divide in Hollywood at the time. This feud symbolized a larger change happening in the movie industry, where old ways of storytelling were being replaced by newer, more complex narratives. Heartbreak with Sondra Locke, a difficult relationship. While Clint's professional life was filled with feuds and conflicts, his personal life was also marked by emotional challenges. One of the most painful relationships he had was with actress Sondra Locke. The two met in 1975 while filming The Outlaw Josie Wales, and their on-screen chemistry quickly turned into a real-life romance. For over a decade, Clint and Sondra were together, and they worked on several movies as a couple. However, their relationship was far from perfect. In her autobiography, Sondra revealed that their relationship was filled with arguments, controlling behavior, and cheating. Clint was often unfaithful, and the final blow came when Sondra discovered that Clint had fathered 2 children with another woman while they were still together. Feeling betrayed, Sondra sued Clint, and although they reached a settlement, the relationship ended on bitter terms. Sondra later spoke about the emotional pain she went through, saying that she regretted allowing herself to be controlled by Clint for so long. Despite the heartbreak, Sondra's career continued, but she never reached the same level of success she had during her years with Clint. Their relationship remains one of the most talked about parts of Clint's personal life. A debate about race. The conflict with Spike Lee. Clint Eastwood's conflicts weren't limited to personal relationships. In 2008, he found himself in a public debate with director Spike Lee. The argument began after Clint released 2 movies about the Battle of Iwo Jima during World War I, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. Spike Lee criticized Clint for not including African American soldiers in his films, despite the fact that many African Americans had fought in the battle. Clint defended his decision by pointing out that the U.S. military was segregated at the time, and African American soldiers were not allowed to fight on Iwo Jima. Spike Lee, however, didn't back down. He continued to argue that African Americans had played a significant role in World War II, and that their contributions should have been recognized in Clint's films. The public nature of their debate highlighted a larger issue in the film industry: how history and race are represented on screen. Both Clint and Spike Lee are respected filmmakers, but their disagreement showed how difficult it can be to tell complex stories about history. Looking back, The legacy of Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's career has been filled with ups and downs, conflicts and successes. From his early days, struggling in school, to becoming one of the most famous actors and directors in Hollywood, Clint's journey has been anything but easy. He has faced personal heartbreak, professional rivalries, and public criticism, but through it all, he has continued to create movies that captivate audiences. Clint's legacy is one of perseverance. He didn't let the challenges he faced stop him from achieving greatness. Whether it was his feud with John Wayne or his heartbreak with Sondra Locke, Clint always found a way to move forward. His career stands as a testament to the power of determination and resilience. Even though he admitted to hating someone more than anyone else, Clint Eastwood never let that hatred define him. Instead, he focused on his craft, leaving behind a legacy that will be remembered for generations to come.